Namaste, good day. How you doing, everyone? So this is my first video segment feed. I'm basically going to be talking on different topics of health ailments, health issues, concerns that people have that they're dealing with, and try to make them a little more aware of why they might be having these ailments, other things like that. Because the thing is, people aren't educated, and neither are doctors to the stance they need to be to learn how to manage themselves, because it's only based on what drugs they're given, not what resources they're given. And the fact of the matter is that there is a lot of ways to reverse and handle basically like cancer, liver disease. God rest her soul, when my mother was passed away, before she did, when we brought her home on hospice, she was suffering from jaundice badly. She was going through liver failure. We started with a few mineral supplements and some other added natural organic amino acids and minerals, and Lord and behold, within 12 hours, her jaundice disappeared. Of course, it's not going to save her, because once your organs fail, unless you can transplant a new one in to manage that one, there is no coming back from that. The cancer is a little more susceptible to being reversed. Organ failure is probably the hardest thing you can ever come back from, if you're ever able to. It's only a 5% recovery chance, compared to cancer having at least a 15 to 20% recovery chance, even at stage 4, which is pretty fucked up, but it's very doable. Excuse my language, sorry. Today's topic, though, we're going to be talking about kidneys, because as many of you may not know, and I know I'm starting to notice because I'm having problems from it now, so I got to step up on my other herbal intake and switch up my supplementation now. I'm not suffering anything severe, but kidney inflammation is an early warning sign of anything from chronic kidney disease, which is normally the case, and a lot of people do suffer from it and can live with it life term, but it's very uncomfortable, and it normally causes pain in your lower back to your legs, which mine is really bad. Yeah, so I'll ask you to forgive me, because I'll probably be drinking water through this segment. It's not kidney stones. If it was kidney stones, I'd be talking to you from the floor. Please excuse me. So, I want to start with the situation that many people seem to overlook. Now, a lot of health issues related to kidneys can also relate to side effects and similar causes to the liver as well. So if you're going through liver failure, normally kidney failure follows due to the fact of the fluid buildup. Same thing actually kind of happens when it comes to congestive heart failure. Your heart is working in reverse. It's pumping blood back into itself instead of through the extremities, so that blood becomes toxified to your system unless you can get it to work regularly and readjust your beating. Also, it not only toxifies the blood, but the fluid buildup, because of this excess there's a lot of fluid buildup and retention due to it, which can normally go in the lungs, which can cause you to have a cough or make you feel like you're suffocating, which is terrifying, which is what sucks about congestive heart failure. Now, I'll be getting into that one in a later segment, because there is a way to maintain it. It's basically a lifelong maintenance. There is no way to recover fully from it, from what I found so far. There is a way to recover from chronic kidney disease, as well as COPD and other situations. And I have 3 people that are thankfully testimonials to my research and the company I'm currently starting from, where I was 2 years ago working through another business, to where this nurse came in, and then these other 2 ladies came in about 2 months later, and they both were talking on the same subject of them curing themselves of breast cancer. They've cured themselves apparently 3 times so far, and are trying to spread the word, and I'm grateful they came to me, because they woke me up and made me realize I know more about plants than I do about mushrooms. They use different types of mycelium to cure their breast cancer somehow. That's in the later segments. Anywho, as far as it goes, how many people out there drink tap water? And depending on what state you live in, you need to be concerned, because I had 2 of my doctors when I lived in Delaware tell me, If you drink the tap water here, you have an 80% chance of getting leukemia before the time you turn the age of 40. I'm like, what? So I did a little more research, and then, of course, the corporations and big businesses doing illegal dumping into the Delaware Bay and the Chesapeake. A lot of it was also caused by runoff as well from the chemical plants, especially through the 80s and 90s. Sun Oil, Sunoco, and all the businesses out there that people don't realize, since Delaware is surrounded on both sides by water from the Delaware and the Chesapeake, that we have the majority of contaminated public tap water, mainly because of how water travels and the fact that filtering everything is almost near impossible. And I don't know if you know, but the United States Environmental Protection Agency made a statement including that most of the stuff they found in the majority of tap water across the United States included microorganisms, ergo E. coli, Giardia, and noroviruses. Inorganic chemicals, ergo lead for lead poisoning, arsenic, nitrates, and other forms of nitrites. Organic chemicals such as atrazine, glyphosate, triglycethylene and ethylene, and tetrachloroethylene, and disinfection products, ergo chloroform. Now, I don't know if you know this, but there was a release of recent through, I believe it was the DEA, no, it was the Department of Health, I'm sorry, that they found out in recent studies that certain, now, keep in mind, they did get rid of chemical grade, or they were supposed to get rid of chemical grade pesticides and grow stuff like Roundup and shit and make it organic. But what they fail to realize is now they're finding out that the chemical pesticides and everything that they did use 10 years ago is now degrading. And what that means is it's breaking down into a new chemical. The hydrogens, the carbons, and all the nitrates within our soil apparently are causing a chemical reaction with those chemicals that are synthetic, now causing our grounds to form uranium. So we are actually making minor to major offset traces of uranium in our soil across the United States now, primarily near farm fields that have used chemical grade pesticides and other things like that. And it's taking about 1 to 2 years for it to process to degradation into uranium. But that means that every bit of food we eat is now radioactive. And people have told me, and I'm not getting off topic, this is a very important point because I want to keep stressing this point because people don't realize this. Food can be grown organically, but if it is grown outdoors, it is not organic, even if they have organic soil, organic pesticides, everything else. It has to be greenhouse grown organic. The reason for that being is because all our water is contaminated, especially our oceans. The amount of radioactive pour-off is ridiculous, not just chemicals from plastic, because the majority of our water is now plastic and full of other radioactive materials, and worst of all, infinity chemicals, which can never be erased and never taken away. And it's funny that they now decided to get rid of infinity chemicals when they can't get rid of the ones they already made. So it's like, we're going to make ourselves look good by lying and saying this works, but getting off topic on that one. Anyway, the point I'm making is that there's a lot of toxins in our tap water and our oceans. So our seafood's contaminated. Sea salt is contaminated too. The stuff you put on your food. If sea grade sea salt is contaminated, get pink Himalayan salt as a substitute, trust me. And the worst is that they can't test for these radioactivities. They can't test for anything else because they're not going to, because the FDA doesn't require it. So all the outsourcing that the major corporations are getting is not being sourced properly and processed, and they're not considering the other sources of contamination. So what happens is the DEA and some of the major organizations pay off a subjectively large amount of charities and donations to Department of Health, the Environmental Protection Agency, and primarily the DEA and the FDA. And mainly it's the FDA who controls the majority because they're determining what's in the foods and what's in the drugs. And at the end of the day, they don't require different things that other countries consider to be illegal in their food, so they allow it anyway. And now the Department of Health has put out a notice about our tap water, because that's not controlled by the FDA, but they're making the Department of Health make a statement on these situations now, that there is settlements and now cases of kidney damage, kidney disease, as well as colon cancer caused by drinking tap water. And like I told you, my doctor, 2 different doctors in the course of 6 years, repeated and agreed that if you live in Delaware or live off of the Delmarva area on the East Coast, you have an 80% chance of getting leukemia between the ages of 40 and 60 if you have drank tap water on a continuous basis for at least a 2-year period, considering the amount of contamination in there. Now, consider how weird this is. The Department of Health in Colorado here has done the same thing, warning about dangerous amounts of lead for lead poisoning out here from tap water, and high amounts of other type of radiations. And the number one health disease in Delaware and most of the Delmarva area, but primarily Delaware, it's the highest rate per capita, is leukemia. And guess what my father and grandmother passed away of, who lived there? Leukemia. And then organ failure to follow because of the amount of contamination to their cells and DNA. And then I talked to a few of my friends I went to high school with, and they confirmed that their grandparents also passed away of leukemia. So now, yeah, I believe with the doctors. I don't take it anymore as just a hypothesis. It's just a statement. It's just a feeling. It's the truth. And the number one disease for Colorado, Parkinson's. So do you know what they have in common? They are all nervous system disorder diseases. So the FDA and they want to look good. They got to cover their butts for the situation. So they're only trying to talk about getting rid of things and trying to make us aware of situations to try to get rid of some of their bad karma for what they've been doing and what they've done. However, given that statement that I've spent the last 12 and a half minutes expressing, there is no way to escape carcinogens, toxins, but there is a way to live a life where you don't have to live the rest of the other half in pain, inflammation, suffering, depression, mood swings, constant farming from the pharmaceuticals and doctors of yourself. There's no need for that. Like, there is definitely not. Now, it's okay to go to a doctor as far as a diagnosis, because I got to be honest, when you have symptoms, it can be a number of causes and a number of things. So it's good to have a professional who's trained to find that stuff opinion, but that's all they're trained to do. They're only trained to find the issue. Then they're trained to throw drugs at them because they get their payments for each prescription they write, and for each time you visit through the taxes, that pays their bills. So they have to give you drugs. They just don't know what to give you, so they give you whatever the FDA suggests is a top ground basis new drug that we need to make money on now, because the problem is they've reached a pinnacle of where they make so much money on a certain prescription, and then when that fails, they'll make a new prescription and tweak it. This is how designer drugs and synthetic drugs came to be from Europe to the United States with people selling K2 and bath salts. Is they would take a drug, analog it, and change one chemical molecule so it's no longer that drug, but it affects you the same. It affects you almost the same. It's supposed to attack and help the same ailment, but it causes more health issues in other areas because it has more binders and more things added to it. And the chemical is now changed again, so your body, who's organic, has to process a synthetic, a new one now. So it's only considering that you have to have a shitload of parasites, unhealthy cells and DNA, not to mention organ damage from however long it has been that you've been on those synthetics. Organic is the only way, because our body's organic, and that's the only thing it knows how to process. Now, see, the FDA is not allowed to tell doctors that because it ruins the fundamentals of Western medicine and their income and the infrastructure. They are an economy by themselves, the FDA. They are their own government and they are their own economy. So we do not have the say-so. We do not have the power other than to take care of ourselves. Not to go to someone asking, hey, there's something wrong with me. Can you tell me how to fix myself? Can you tell me how to take care of myself? Because apparently the schools never taught me how to care for myself. My parents never taught me how to care for myself. Is that their fault? No, because no one's allowed to tell them how to do it either. And they're not allowed to tell you by law. So that means don't be educated, educate yourself. Don't be told what to learn, be told how to learn, okay? Because at the end of the day, we are responsible for our temples of God. We are responsible for this. Even though we are not bodies, we are soul. Our soul has to wear this meat sack. So take care of it, because we are being attacked spiritually and physically by these unseen entities within our food, within the synthetic drugs. Sorry, getting dry mouth again. And I'm trying to let you know that we are now responsible to be on our own maintenance and our own supplementation permanently. So everyone's going to die eventually, but wouldn't you want to live a little longer to see the benefits? And for those who may not want to live long because they're tired of seeing the madness, don't you want to at least go out comfortably and peacefully and not be hurting as you're leaving? Like, feel like you can just die in your sleep and you felt like you were 20 years old the way you wanted to, you know? And you got the mindset that I'm 20, but my body says, no, you're 50. Sorry, now you can be angry and upset because this is going to be the situation. Don't put me in a nursing home because I'm going to be well. I'm going to be well until my body says it's time. And that's the good thing. You think death is pain. It's not pain. When your body thinks it's time to go, that's when you can die peacefully in your sleep and you're not even looking like you're in pain the day before. It can be mind over matter for some of those people. God bless their souls. Those strong old 90, 100-year-old, 80-year-old people who might be pressing physically, but they don't act like it in front of people. They're so proud in their mind and strong that they can hold through. The mind is a powerful thing. And if you change your mind and your body, then you can work on your soul. I'm telling you. Now, as far as the kidneys go, because I'm not getting off topic. This is a very gray area, but it's very broad and it needs to be covered in different aspects. So if I feel like I'm moving too fast, you can go back and follow up from where I was talking before, because I'm going to be talking on what can cause and what are probably the major causes of most of our organ and health ailments, but that there are ways that have been proven to me to work, have scientific backing showing they work, but won't get backed by the FDA or any insurance companies. So today we'll focus on the kidneys, and I don't know if you know, but the biggest thing that you need to watch out for if you do have chronic kidney disease or any form of kidney issues is sodium, of course. That's to be guaranteed, because that's going to pull, it can not only damage the kidneys, excess amounts of sodium, but it can cause blood levels to rise. It'll give you high blood pressure, and that'll put you into serious states of cardiac situations. So it all works together. But potassium is another thing you really need to make sure that you can limit. It plays a critical role in the body. I mean, it's good, but it's dangerous and high. It's very dangerous that you need to limit potassium levels with chronic kidney disease, because it'll give you high blood levels as well. And it's recommended that potassium at less than 2,000 milligrams a day, as well as sodium of less than 2,000 milligrams per day, is ideal for people suffering that. Now here's the reason why, and this is just a hypothesis. Don't take this to heart. Phosphorus is the third. Phosphorus damages damaged kidneys can't remove excess phosphorus, a mineral in many foods. High levels can cause damage to the body, so dietary phosphorus is restricted to less than 800 to 1,000 milligrams per day in most patients. So that being said, I don't know if you know this, but there has been an issue of toxins found in food, and it says right here, I have this file with me. Research links kidney damage to chemicals in popular food and drink. Kidneys are critically important organs. It shows that Healthy kidney function can be affected by a number of medical conditions: diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, all that. Not given just to obesity and sedentary living. Taking non-steroidal drugs such as aspirin, ibuprofen, naproxen, siloxib can also cause kidney damage. But here's the crazy thing. Medical research has found that most processed foods, the foods that you eat and that you put in the microwave, everything that's processed, has high concentrations of phosphorus, which is going to show why kidney and pancreas is probably having the most uprising numbers and cancers, is because the amount of carcinogens and synthetics and the phosphorites within our fast food, and which is processed, and our TV dinners, which is processed, and a few other foods, including boxed food like shelf food that you prepare, that Betty Crocker and stuff, that will jack up your gut and then the organs. And it seems like the kidneys have the worst part to play as far as like tap water and as far as the moisture or water content within the food you're eating. And it's messing up the pancreas because the carcinogens do make it through the gallbladder and the liver, but then all these extra ones are caught here. So that's why these are catching up now. So it's starting to make sense to me why these numbers are rising up. Don't get me wrong, still within the United States, the highest cancer out of any other cancer is breast cancer. That's the number one cancer. The second one is always lung cancer, and then the rest are colorectal cancers is third, which is colon and rectal, which makes sense because we do have waste buildup, and the problem is we don't take care of ourselves the way we need to because of the way society has us prone to be going, moving. They want us to be unhealthy. That's why they put up fast food restaurants, to make it convenient. They know that they can kill us just like they market us. Convenience and ego. If we can sell them convenience and ego to meet both those needs, they won't pay no mind to what's going on with themselves and their life. They only own their life, but not themselves, not the care they need to give. And that's the true evil of it, because they won't let doctors or teachers let you know, because they won't tell them or let them educate themselves in it. And the ones who do are either dismissed or, Anyway, it's not a hopeless situation. There's many ways. It's just figuring out a maintenance of organic compounds and a better diet that works for you, because your gut controls everything. So unless you fix your gut health, you can't fix your body's health. Then you can't fix your mental health. It goes that way, because this has to send nutrition up here. And if it's getting synthetics and it's lacking the minerals that the FDA took out of most of our food supply, why do you think we all have mental health issues? It has nothing to do with a chemical imbalance. It has to do with a mineral deficiency. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's a gimmick for money that if you fix your mineral deficiencies, you won't need half the prescription mental health prescription meds that you need. Then if you fix your diet, you won't need the majority of physical health ailment prescriptions you need. That, and watch where you're sourcing your stuff and where you're getting it. No tap water. Buy distilled water. If you can't get to a market, if you're in outwoods, if you're off the grid, all you need is some cotton balls and activated charcoal and a water bottle. And you pour anything from a stream through that and filter it. And once you filter that water off, filter it one more time through a separate water bottle with the same method. And I would suggest, this is just, you can add flavor to it. You want to put you can put lemon balm leaves in with the charcoal, or even holy basil, just to add a sweetness to the water, as like a water flavoring. And the best part is that both lemon balm and holy basil is antimicrobial. Thank you. Sorry about that. And antibacterial and antifungal. So it'll be good on fixing any parasites being removed, or anything that would be bacterial out of the water, along with the activated charcoal. So you want to run that through the second one. You don't want to put the holy basil through the first process or the lemon balm. You can even use actually rosemary and oregano. That's only if you got a cold. That's only if you got a cold. You don't want to be drinking on water like that. That's why I suggest the other two, because they have more beneficial purpose. Anyway, now I'm getting back off topic. So with the kidney situation, those are the three main that's the main thing, is the toxins that we found in the water supply causing most of the toxins in our water supply are causing nervous system damage, but most of the toxins in our food is causing stomach and organ damage. So this means that we have to be on a constant maintenance. Now, my company, JJmedicinals and Old Home Holistics, sells herbs. Now, you might be already into holistics, have your own sources. I'm not trying to do any marketing on here because that's not my gimmick. My gimmick is to spread information because I want to help you. We're companies just to give people more resources. And if anything, I'll put that down in the link later. But for now, cauliflower is number one. These are the 20 main foods you have to eat if you're suffering from lower back pain and leg pain, which could possibly be caused, if not by pinched nerves or nerve issues, then it's caused by your kidneys. Because those are the only causes of lower back pain other than a broken back or muscle damage. And those are a rare case unless you've been in an accident. So if these issues are happening are happening to you and you've never been in a severe accident, it's more than likely your kidneys that are messing with you or your nervous system or nerve damage. And I will be getting into nervous disorders. I've managed to help apparently 3 different people with Parkinson's and I think it's multiple cerebral palsy was the other person, and they said all their shakes stopped, but only 2 out of the 3 were having at least a good recovery rate, better than the prescription medications that they were getting, which made me very happy, thank heavens. Now, cauliflower is the main thing you want to focus on because it's high in vitamin C, K, and B. Now, keep in mind, you want to get organic, and primarily because anything that's inorganic that you buy, even though it does have vitamins in it, most of those vitamins and minerals have either been removed or depleted because of the synthetics or the pesticides and other contaminants that might have got involved based on the difference in grow methods for organic and inorganic. So just get non-GMO and organic food if you're trying to recover from health ailments, trust me. But it has very low levels of all 3, phosphorus, potassium, and sodium, so it's good for the kidneys. Cauliflower is ideal also to help liver and gallbladder, not just your kidneys. Blueberries are packed with nutrients. It's probably primarily antioxidants, which will work to fight off any cancers or any cells that are being damaged from the kidney disease that would entail to cause kidney cancer. This would prevent it if you eat blueberries, and it says that 1 cup of fresh blueberries is ideal every day and contains near to none of sodium, potassium, and phosphorus within its levels. Sea bass. Like I said earlier, you really want to monitor the seafood you're getting. Now, everything's contaminated, so as long as you work on a proper supplement maintenance to work on your health more than what you're taking in toxins from the food, you'll feel much better and you'll have less need to want to eat as much, because since it's void of nutrients, that's why we're always so hungry and the food we eat never fills us up from fast food and TV dinners, is because it's void of nutrients. It only lacks the basic fundamentals of fats and proteins, but it doesn't have the nutrients and minerals that our body's looking for. So therefore, we're still going to be hungry. But if we take supplements that give us the nutrients and minerals and amino acids that we need, our diet and appetite levels out completely. And then you won't have a need to eat as much if you're eating the right things. So as far as the sea bass goes, sea bass is high in omega-3s. It's good for the heart, and it definitely helps because of its levels for chronic kidney disease. But it says 3 ounces of cooked sea bass contain less sodium of only 74 milligrams, 279 milligrams potassium, and 211 milligrams of phosphorus. It's ideal to take in small portions to help for maintenance between cardiovascular and kidney issues. But farm-raised seafood has growth hormones and a lot of parasites. Seafood, wild caught, has a lot of radiation and heavy metals in them and plastic. So pick your poison, just so you know. That's the situation as of now with all the seafood that you buy. Red grapes are another option. And I want to give you at least an idea of what works best for people suffering from chronic kidney disease. Now, I'm also going to let you know of there's herbs from South America, Africa, and China that I've taken over the years, that I've given to people over the years. Now, I have had hepatitis C for 11 years. I don't anymore. That was through the help of my doctors. But my liver and my gallbladder, I completely reversed my stage 3 cirrhosis, they said, with whatever I was taking, which was a miracle in itself. But I wouldn't tell them exactly what I did, but that's why I make the tinctures, because I learned that catalyst effect is real. The entourage effect or catalyst effect, whichever you would prefer to call it, definitely works. You can't take just one supplement, like one product, to fix an ailment. You can do it for like supplementation of minerals, amino acids, and nutrients to prevent any future ailments or health issues. But if you're suffering from one already, you cannot take just one herb. You have to take an entourage effect normally to help. Not for like pain or stuff, inflammation, but for fixing the issue internally of whatever's happening. You can reverse it if you take a catalyst effect of different herbs. And it works better than the synthetics, as I told you earlier, because our bodies process them way better. Egg whites, not egg yolks, egg whites are another good option for kidney disease. Garlic is always a good option. And it's got manganese, vitamin C, and B6, and sulfur compounds for anti-inflammatory properties if you take garlic. Honestly, you can actually get rid of severe congestion using garlic too. You take 3 garlic cloves and crush them, put them in with peanut butter on side of a wrapper, a pita bread, and eat that thing, and all the mucus will come out of your lungs and your nose. It saved me from pneumonia just eating the garlic. God bless that. Buckwheat apparently is very good, but it's just high in phosphorus. I still would stand clear and monitor the take. It says a half a cup a day is what the suggested minimum amount would be, but olive oil is good. And I use olive oil to help with removing melanomas too. Not by itself. I use it in a oil rub that I make with a special blend. Bulgur is a whole grain wheat product that makes a terrific kidney-friendly alternative to whole grains that are high in phosphorus and potassium. So, yeah, certain breads and whole grain breads have phosphorus and potassium, and you want to limit your amount of white bread and bread intake if you have kidney disease. It's better to either go for pita or go for primarily bulgur. If you can't get that, then pita works just as well. Cabbage, definitely do cabbage. Cabbage will fix your liver and your kidney at the same time, especially if you make it into a stew. I'm telling you, it's fantastic. I think that's probably why the Irish could drink so well. They would have ham and cabbage every day. I know it's a Catholic thing, but whatever. Don't worry. My grandmother was Catholic, sorry. Skinless chicken. So take the skin off the chicken if you're going to have chicken, and limit the amount because of the amount of phosphorites. Bell peppers. Onions. Arugula. I love arugula. That stuff is the best on earth. Basically, it's suggested if you go to a more green diet, more high in greens like arugula, spinach, and even cabbage and broccoli, you'll do very well with managing any type of gallbladder, liver, and kidney issues. Macadamia nuts and radishes are also ideal, along with turnips for kidney disease. Pineapple and cranberries, of course. That's always a good good for the majority of your gut. But like I like to suggest is that people who do take in a lot of synthetics, or should I say carcinogenic foods such as TV dinners and fast food, should really start drinking either kombucha or prebiotics on a daily basis. You'll have better bowel movements, you'll have less cramping and stomach pains, and I promise you'll have less inflammation if you start drinking prebiotics, probiotics. Preferably taking a pre-probiotic is the best way to manage it fully, or just drinking kombucha itself every day, one day. I'm telling you. Now, I also noticed that nettle leaf is good for kidney disorders. So if you take, here's a few herbs I'll name from South America that can be found in tea bags that are very beneficial in maintaining kidney disorders. Nettle leaf, jatoba, cat's claw, mulaka, anamu. I didn't know that. I have some. So that'll go in my next kidney aid tincture. And there's also, for kidney failure and dialysis, sarsaparilla and chancapedra are the two best herbs to come back and recover from any kidney failure or dialysis. That's only South American herbs, people. That's not even considering the herbs I have in my other paperwork for kidneys from Africa and China and parts of, primarily when I say China, I'm talking about Tibet and the Himalayas, near the highest points in the world. Because I don't know if you know, but since the oxygen levels are so thin at that high at altitude, all the plants have more cancer curing or cancer recovery, I should say. Because I don't like to say the word curing, because if I do, it mainly implies that it will fix everyone, and that's not true. A lot of people have fixed themselves. A lot of people I know have actually got rid of and cured their cancer, diabetes, and other issues doing so, but that's not the case for everyone unless they fix their diet and their bad habits and stay to a maintenance. If they don't stay to a maintenance, it won't work. But I can tell you this much. It doesn't have to be a lifelong maintenance if you fix those things, because out of the 3 people I know who have fixed themselves of cancer on several different accounts, only 1 out of the 3 had to do it once, and it's been 12 years and he hasn't contracted, knock on wood, that he hasn't had it happen again. The other ones probably haven't fixed their health ailments or how they were eating or the amount of food they were eating or what they were doing, and they had their cancers come back. They're still alive, both of them, but they had cancer 3 times without any intervention, radiation, or doctor's help. They decided to go off and do natural healing, and it turns out that it actually fixed them. The one had breast cancer. She's a nurse. She cured herself 3 times without aid. The other one was my mentor. He got rid of his Crohn's disease permanently. And he actually learned it from a book from a guy who cured himself of he cured his own Crohn's disease and wrote a book about it from a natural plants of South America. The second guy I know who had cancer, he had he actually had prostate and throat cancer. He got rid of both of his cancers disappeared, and the tumors disappeared in about 3 months. I would say roughly about 13 weeks after his daily dosing twice a day of his tincture regimen that he was taking, the cancers went away. Now, they did come back 4 years later, but surprisingly enough, he caught it in time at a stage 1 of the prostate cancer coming back, not the throat. And I guess he quit cigarettes, but something else was going on. And so when that came back, it took him about 2.5 months to get rid of that one. And then the third time was 2 years later. He got rid of it, taking a different supplementation. He stopped taking the supplements he was taking for the first 2, tried a different cancer reversal and remission recovery blend that he came up with, and it got rid of it again. So you can definitely fix yourself if you're willing to be disciplined and work on the maintenance and taking what's necessary. But you have to keep in mind, you have to try to take them for at least 2 weeks to see how they work before considering if it's best for you or if you need to try different herbs that work just the same in supplementation. That's why I'm focusing on the mushrooms, because I realize I know more about herbs than I do about mushrooms. And they're just as beneficial in reversal. The woman who actually fixed herself of breast cancer was taking the mushrooms. I believe it was a combination of lion's mane and turkey tail, and after 3 weeks, her tumor was starting to go down. After 6 weeks, her tumor disappeared, and that's all she took. And she's a nurse. So there's a lot of benefit to be had here, and there's a lot going on that we're not seeing. I also want to let you know that, or should I just reiterate that if you do eat a little more consciously. Should I say if you eat on the run, eat a little more consciously. Everyone's got to eat, I guess. I more supplement. I'm trying to cut back on the foods because mostly everything's contaminated. I'm just going to stick to smoothies, hemp protein, spirulina. My mentor actually got rid of his esophagus damage using that. He used it for about 4 months. So there's a lot of things you can work with here to fix yourself. I'm going to be putting a lot more videos on here. I'm going to see if I can put in the comments or in my description setting about our website link, as well as different links to natural healing informations and stuff like that. But I'll pretty much be doing that on here. I'll be talking about different topics, different concerns. In this segment, I covered kidney and the topic of poisoning from outside resources. So remember, we have to stay on a constant maintenance and a constant care at this point. It's not just one organ. It's not just one situation. We are being attacked and we can't see it. But I can tell you this much. Since I've been taking my herbal supplements, the kidney pain, the back pain, and everything I'm dealing with has gone away, allowing me to go to work every day. I'm in tremendous pain when I wake up in the morning, but the moment I take that, within 30 to 45 minutes, I feel good all day. I just take a mineral supplement. I take ashwagandha with that mineral supplement. I take a variety change up of a mushroom between turkey tail, cordyceps, and lion's mane. I kind of mix between them. I never take the same one every day. I take like a gram of one, and then I rotate them every 3 days with the mineral supplement and ashwagandha. And those are normally all I stick to. And ever since I've been taking them, I haven't had a need to take hardly much kratom. My doses are cut down to like 25% of what I was taking. And I've been cutting back on my cannabis use because it's put my tolerance to 0 for my pain. And I don't even need psilocybin microdoses hardly for it. This is just what I take because this is what I'm allowed to take from where I live. And honestly, we should all have a right to explore our own natural healing. But keep it natural. Don't deal with like opiates, please don't. And please don't deal with that other bad stuff. There are pain relievers that are not opiates that work just as well. Kratom's an example, but I don't like to support only kratom because people think that's their answer now. It's not. Because when you take kratom for too long a period, it causes calcium deposits on your bones and more pain. And that's because there's 4 alkaloid calcium blockers in kratom. Now, I do take kratom, but I monitored my dosing and I switched to a different painkiller that we sell on our website at JJmedicinals. All it is a seed from Africa. And it's very powerful and euphoric in its pain relief. But I know that there's other plants too that I haven't found yet that I'm still looking for, that I want to learn about. And in the coming segments and live feeds that I'll be doing, I'm not just going to be talking about ailments and health issues. I'm also going to be talking about the plants themselves. I'm going to talk about one plant and stick to the topic of what it's been found to do, what its benefits are, scientific research and trials and proof, and everything else. I'm going to touch on those basics. I also am going to try to put more outreach out there. Because my company does an outreach holistic program where I will help people with a maintenance ideal of what would work for their health issues. Also, an idea of what would be good for their diets and how they can change up their diets, and they can give me input on what their habits have been and just my suggestions. I can't tell you what to do. I can only suggest that, hey, you need to cut back from this and probably switch to this. This will work just as good. And and as far as your supplementations go, it looks like it's working great. Just do this, and you want to keep to your supplements for at least about a 1 to 3 month period on a daily. After that, you want to switch to other supplements that work and can just the same as those ones, but they're different alkaloids. So now your body can process them faster and better. Because if you're suffering with a health ailment, you're going to build a tolerance and adaptivity to those alkaloids that you're taking for those several months. But if you switch over, then you're actually combating it even faster to get rid of it faster when you do back and forth. You at least want to keep on your regimen of the one supplementations for 2 weeks before ever switching. I suggest 4 weeks because it takes up to 2 weeks for it to reach its potential before it starts going down to a decline on its tolerance after about a month to 3 months. That being said, not every herb is required to have that happen. Shilajit, for example, and L-dopamine velvet bean, you don't need to stop the intake, but you do need to adjust the dosages. You need to take it every day so you're never going through the pain or inflammation. But you want to switch the dosages high then low, and take it every day so your body can work on its monitoring of it and stay at that middle range. And that's easy to do if you have the raw herb yourself or if you have a tincture. That's the second option outside of you stopping and going to a different supplementation. If you're not a person who wants to put out the money for that, you just want something that's going to work, then yeah, you can do it that way. But it's not ideal if your health ailments are that severe. Trust me. If you're just suffering with minor fatigue or inflammation or anxiety or depression, that's different. That's reasonable. If you're suffering from heart disease, liver disease, gallstones, kidney stones, prostate issues, even for women, if you're suffering from heavy bleeding and menstrual cramp issues, like there's a lot of options, and I'm going to be doing segments on all of them too, because I've seen firsthand different herbs that work for it. So that's why I'm working on getting them up for options on my website through the company JJmedicinals&OldHomeHolistics that I have with all my associates that we started. We started it primarily to give people more outreach. Like, we can give you suggestions, but we want to give you more resource. We don't want to just send you here and there to different companies. You're free to do the research and find out what works best for you. Make sure it's non-GMO and organic if you're buying from them, and make sure that they can tell you that they can vouch for that in their chemical test on their herbs. Because every herb I buy that I make for the company that I have for the website, all the tinctures and everything, I will not buy it from a source unless that source can prove to me it's either non-GMO or organic, or they have shown me test results proving that if they don't have, the GMO project certification or anything else under their belt, they at least need to show me the heavy metal test results to make sure there's no mercury or, carcinogens inside or arsenic inside of any of the herbs I'm dealing with, because I'm trying to make it as clean as possible for your body to be able to be thankful to know that there is something working for me for once. I'm not being thrown poison, and I don't blame my carrier. I blame my environment, but he doesn't know that. He just knows something's wrong, because that's all I can tell him is through my nervous system and my muscles that you're hurting for a reason, brother. What's the reason? And let's try some supplements and some maintenance here to see what works. And when I feel that this is what's needed, this is how I'm supposed to feel, then I'm one step closer. I'm one step closer to the physical freedom that'll lead to my spiritual freedom. Because when you're in pain and when you're subjugated to that type of hopelessness, your body hurts even worse, to the point to where you're not living. That's the point of what I'm doing. Is I don't want to be a part of the money, because people are taking advantage of people on this. They're overcharging them. This comes from Mother Earth. I'm only charging what I need to make back from what I created to help people. Because why? We all got to die, but we're all on this planet for a purpose. And it's your own belief system. But for my belief system, I believe that I might have done wrong in my past that I want to make right. I used to sell drugs when I was a stupid young kid. And I realized years after I gave it up, I hurt myself. And while I was hurting myself, I was hurting other people. That guilt made me realize now that I found a better way, I want to help everyone else find a better way. I don't want you to feel that life is hopeless. I'm going to be an addict. Life is hopeless. I'm going to stay in my chair downstairs in the basement. I don't want you to tell me that life is hopeless to the point to where you think you're the problem, because you're not. You're just in a disposition, and that disposition can be easily fixed by you fixing your body and fixing your mind. And I'm willing to help anyone. You can message me. I'm going to put my information here, and I'm going to tell you on here just to make sure you got it. Revelation Herbals 2020@gmail.com. That's JJmedicinals and Old Home Holistics outreach for holistic practitioner, guided maintenance of dosaging, dieting, and health ailment recovery. And JJmedicinals.com, which will be up on April 20th, 2023, around 9 p.m., will be the start and the launch of our website. And they will have much more products coming throughout the summer. We just want to get out there and start it so we can help the people that are going through this turmoil and the madness of the world to make their lives a little more stable, happy, and peaceful. With that being said, I'll be putting up more segments on herbs and ailment concerns, and I'd like to wish y'all a beautiful day, beautiful weekend. Namaste, happy healing.